let's talk about how we find the area of a parallelogram. First, what is a parallelogram? A parallelogram is basically a shape that has two sets of parallel sides, which you can see here. This side is parallel to this side, and this side's parallel to this side down here, and you can tell that by the markings that are there. Don't worry about this little brick wall that I've drawn over here, I'll get to that later. So basically, when we're trying to calculate the area of one of these shapes, you might notice that it looks a little bit like a leaning rectangle that's taken a break, leaning on a wall. Anyway, the way we go about calculating the area of one of these parallelograms is the same as a rectangle. It's base times height. So whether or not our parallelogram is standing up straight or whether it's leaning to one side, the area is base times height. So the only real thing that's a little bit confusing about parallelograms is, what do you use for the measurement of the height? Do I use this diagonal side over here, or do I use perpendicular height? So that's the height directly from the top to the bottom if it makes a right angle. That is the question. Which height do we use? And that's why I've drawn this little brick wall over here, because that there also represents our perpendicular height. So anyway, the reason I've drawn this brick wall is the way I like to remember it is I've got this happy guy here. He's a little tired because he's had to listen to me for a couple of hours, so he's decided to lean up against a wall, have a little rest. Anyway, so the way that we calculate area for this parallelogram is we actually use the height of the brick wall that he's leaning on. Assuming the brick wall is the exact same height as him, of course, but we use the perpendicular height. Sorry, I forgot to draw my little symbol in there. We use the perpendicular height. So that's the height directly from the top to the bottom, straight down without any lean. So we don't use this as the height measurement. Sometimes you'll get a question where they'll give you a number for there, but you don't want to use that one. It will give you a crazy answer and it won't be right. So you use the perpendicular height. So for example, if in this case my perpendicular height was, say 5 meters, and the length of this parallelogram's head was, say, 10 meters, and say the question gave me a 7 meters over here, I would not use that 7 meters. I'd cross that off because that is not useful information for us. That's just going to confuse us. So to calculate the area equals base. So, because this side up here is the top as this side, is the same as this side down here. I can put my 10 meters down there too. My base is 10 times my height, and my height is not 7. My height is 5 meters, so it'll be 10 times 5. So my answer would be 10 5s are 50. Now I can't forget my units. So in this case, I'm using meters, but I don't just leave it there. It's very important that when we are calculating area, we let people know that we're calculating the area of a 2D shape. And I say 2D because it's length and height, or base and height. So it's got two components that we're calculating. So it's a 2D shape, it's not 3D. So we put a little to the power of 2 there to let us know that we are doing a 2D shape. Anyway, parallelograms.